Hi, this is Robbie from Southern California, and you can see we feed thousands of hummingbirds out my kitchen window and all over the garden all year in feeders that I purchase as well as feeders that I make. And I make all different kinds, like this anise feeding out of a globe that was made, and that's a male anise. And here is one I just modified because it was for seeds, but I changed it for hummingbirds to feed out of. And the other thing we put out are fountains, many of which I've made, as well as a couple here that I have purchased. But today, the only thing I'm going to do here is go over what hummingbirds I have here in Southern California, and this is an Allen's. Now, we'll go over the Rufous as well because they almost look identical. The Allen's has his tail feathers slightly thinner than the Rufous, but really it's hard to see that by the naked eye just watching them, and you would have to actually capture them and check them out as researchers do. But we'll talk about the 5 species that I see often around here. So this is a male that was taking a bath on one of the fountains. And here is another hummingbird we have here. And each one will be labeled. This is the black-chinned, and this is a female or possibly an immature male, as both the babies and the females will appear very similar. They love taking baths, remember that, because they've got to wash all that nectar off that they get on them, not just from your feeders, but from flowers as they collect through the yard. And notice here, the color on this black chin, well, that little purple spot is a male, and that's the only bright color they get. And sometimes you won't even notice it. The sun's got to catch it in just the right way. Now here is either a female Rufous or Allen's. Both of those are very similar, and like I said, you would actually have to inspect them by hand, which of course we're not going to do. But if you could get a glimpse of their tails, it is their tail feathers that's slightly different in both species. But we do know we have both of them here, so it could be either or. Now, contrary to what some people believe, a lot of these females do have color on their neck. The Rufous and the Allen's could sport a tiny bit of orange. Oh, the Costas, we're going to come back to those. Those are absolutely gorgeous. But notice the different species will be happy enough to bathe all together because it's important for all of them to get that nectar and pollen off. And that's a good thing. It's so fun to watch the different species in the garden intermingling as they do what they need to do, and that's clean themselves off. Note here that tiny spot. Well, that could be a female Rufous or Allen's or an immature male, not in full color yet. So here is one of the most beautiful hummingbirds that come to the garden and to the feeders, mainly in the garden though, the Costas. The male sports that beautiful purple on the neck where the gorget's so long. But note here how purple it is. That is a big difference between another species we do have here, which is a slightly different color. Instead of purple, they're more on the pink and magenta side. How fun that the two of them, a Rufous and a Costa, can take a bath together just to enjoy some beautiful water streaming down them. I do find it interesting that a lot of hummingbirds will bathe together. Unlike when they're feeding, you see some quarreling, which is usually the Rufous that's chasing everybody off. But here, water is so important, and keep that in mind if you're trying to attract hummingbirds to your garden or to an area. Now here is the anise. Notice on the face there, it's a magenta color. Here are some photos I took in my garden. They are a bright pink. They're so vivid, the males, you cannot not spot them. They flash their color with the sunlight, and it is just beautiful. Now the females on the other side are green. You'll see almost no rust color to them. Notice the male here and a female, her back is towards us. She's very green, where the other one to the right has a little bit more of a rust color. When they have a rust color, you'll know right away it is either a Rufous or an Allen's. If the dull ones without color are mainly green, then you'll know it's either an anise, a black chin, or a female Costa, or an immature bird. One other species that can come through here are the Calliops. Now the thing is, I rarely see them. I believe I saw them once, but it probably was a straggler as they usually go in a different direction in Southern California. So for a recap, what I have here are 5 species. The rusty looking ones are either the Rufous or the Ellens, and then the ones that are more greener or duller, which is the females or the immature, would be the black chin, the Annas, or the Costas. So if you see them on the green side, you know they're one of those. If you see them on the rusted side, you know it's either a Rufous or an Ellens. So I hope this little video gives you an idea of what hummingbirds come through Southern California, or I should say California. And this way, when you see them, you may be able to spot them or get an idea as to which they are. But you know what? I love them all. So all of them are invited here. Any of them come here. I don't have a preference whether they're mainly green or rusty. And of course, we love our orioles too, which show up in the spring to gather some nectar out of the feeders to feed their babies. And well, all of them are welcome to feed here. It is such a joy to have them here. So with that, have a wonderful day. And don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye.